I'm Amanda, and this is Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. Hey, everybody, welcome to today's episode. I am so happy to bring Lindsey of Pen and Paper Patterns to you. I don't know about you, but I have really just been such a fangirl on the sidelines for so long. So finally getting to talk to her has just been a dream. Um, I love her patterns. I love everything she makes. I think the first time I was introduced to her stuff, Miranda was making the her daisy quilt. I can't think of the name right now. Anyway, gorgeous, so cool. And then I saw sparrows and I was like, that's it. I'm in love forever and ever. Amen. So anyway, I'm so excited for you to hear my conversation with Lindsey, and let's just jump into it. All right. Hi, Lindsey. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so excited that you're here.
I'm excited to be here. I'm so excited you asked me to do this. So yeah.
I have to confess, I was like kind of fangirling for a long time, actually, for a really long time. And so then when I was finally like, I'm just gonna ask her, like, what's the worst she can say? Is ghost me? Everybody's ghosted me. Like, it's fine. And then
Oh
I
no.
no,
I
it's
I love, well, first of all, I'm so flattered, but I love doing this kind of stuff. I mean, now I do. At the beginning when people would ask me to do podcasts, I was like, that sounds like a nightmare, and I would get so anxious and nervous about it. But now I love chatting with people in the industry and just having
yeah,
conversations like this. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited. So yeah, thank you
Yay.
for overcoming asking me. I appreciate it. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I was so excited when you said yes. So this is gonna be great. I honestly have been such a fan of your patterns for a really long time. And so we'll talk more about that later. But we're here to get to know you. So let's go all the way back to the beginning and tell us, how did you even get into quilting and designing in the first place?
um technically, so my mom sewed when I was growing up. So I was first exposed to sewing through her. She would make like our Halloween costumes. She'd make garments for herself. And I remember just watching her sewing, being like, oh, that looks cool. Like that looks fun to do. And then in like 2003, I was pregnant with my daughter, my youngest, and I had a friend who asked if I wanted to take these like just very casual quilting classes with her. She had a friend who quilted and offered to teach us how to make a quilt. And I was like about 3 months, or sorry, no, I was in my third trimester when
Oh gosh.
yeah, I was pretty far along. And so I took, I think, two or three classes. So I learned how to piece. Like I learned what right sides together was. I learned how to. They also taught us. It was just squares, like patchwork style. But she had like a design wall, and she was like, "You can just put these squares in any order that you want, and make your own design." Which I thought was cool. So after we figured that out, then we started sewing them together. I made my quilt top, but then I was like, I literally, like, I'm about to pop. I can't, I
Yeah.
can't take any more classes. So I had my aunt teach, and I think she'd made one quilt before, but
Mm,
she didn't know how to do binding.
mm.
So, anyways, I never learned the quilting or binding phase of making a quilt, but I finished it in this really sort of janky way. And my grandma has it now,
Mm.
that very first quilt. But and then flash forward, so I had my kids. I did a bunch of like creative businesses on the side. Well, not a bunch. I did like two. I
That's a bunch
did,
sometimes.
yeah, it felt like a bunch.
Yeah.
I did like children's murals, baby, murals. And
Oh,
then I did pursue like children's book illustration for a hot second with a friend, and we we got rejected,
oh
so that didn't
no.
work out. And then I did like handmade invitations for a while. And I sold them on Etsy.
Okay.
And I would buy all my supplies for my cards or my invitations from this scrapbook store. and they had recently started carrying fabric. They had like a new section in their store of like just fabric and stuff.
Hmm.
And every time I'd go into the store, I was like, everyone here just seems like they're having the most fun.
Hmm.
And they're like, they seem like they're having such a good time. This looks like such a fun place to work. So, and I was getting so tired of making invitations. That creative business was tough because I didn't have as much control over the creative process. Like I'm being told what the colors are, what the theme is, and then I'm having to make 20 of the same thing.
Yeah.
So, and it was very handmade, all the invitations. This was like before, I don't know, like there was Cricut machines and all that stuff, but before
Right.
you could customize the Cricut, whatever you cut out on your
Mm.
Cricut machine.
Yeah.
Anyways, I would get most of my supplies from there, but I was getting really burnt out. So one day I just came in, I brought in like a box of my invitations, and I was like, I really want a job here. Here's my resume. Like,
Yeah.
and it's funny, the lady who ended up hiring me, she took the box back to their office to show, the managers, the other people working there. And 6 months later, they took my application. And then 6 months later, I got a call being like, hey, you want a job here? And I was like, yes. Like, I was so excited. I thought I wasn't going to get it, but I ended up
That's a
getting the
long
job.
time to wait.
It was. Yeah. That's why I'm
Six
like, oh,
months.
I was like, okay, dang it. I'm
Okay.
not going to get a job here. But yeah,
Yeah.
about 6 months later, I got the job. Favorite job I've ever had. And I worked there for 6 years. But
Oh,
anyways, when I first started working there, the owner, because they just started carrying fabric and quilting supplies and stuff, she offered beginning quilting classes to all the new employees to become more familiar with that
yeah.
product and stuff. And because I forgot to mention, my a lot of my family's from Pennsylvania, so growing
Mhm.
up, we had visited Pennsylvania one time and seeing the Amish, like the quilts hanging up in shops and stuff. That was also like a kind of a pivotal moment of like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
that's amazing, like jaw dropping, like, wow, these are amazing quilts. I would love to know how to do that. So, anyways, I had always had this desire to learn, and then taking those 2 or 3 classes I had, 7 years prior.
Hmm.
When I got this opportunity for like a 4 week beginning quilting class, I was like, yes, like heck yeah.
Yeah.
So did that month's worth of classes and I was hooked, obsessed. And that led to I ended up teaching some like sewing classes, like apron making classes there.
Oh,
Made more quilts. I did like online tutorials for weekly online tutorials for them, and some of them involved quilt patterns. And I did store displays for them. And sometimes there was one time where it was technically my first pattern I had created and sold just through that display. And it was as pen and paper patterns.
hmm.
And then I had posted about that quilt online, and I got people requesting the pattern online. So that evolved into, okay, let me set something up. And I was like hooked on this sort of the idea of this creative business, because with quilt making, I had full control over the creative process. I'm
Right.
deciding the theme, the colors. I'm making the quilt once or twice. I'm not
Hmm.
getting burnt out on that specific design or whatever. And then I start all over again. I'm making something new and whatever I want to make. And
Yeah.
that's where it all started. And then like 2015 is when I released my first official pattern, Rainy Day. And I was still working at the quilt store. It closed in 2016.
Oh,
So for about a year, I was doing both. Yeah, I know. It was super sad. I really love that job, really love the people there. But yeah, since 2015, I've been designing quilt patterns, and yeah, been obsessed and passionate since.
yeah. Oh my gosh. What a story. And like, just like a testament that like creativity can take you anywhere. Like, honestly.
Yes, and to places you never knew. Like I didn't know what pattern design was or anything really about
Yeah.
quilting besides those 2 or 3 classes, 7 years prior. I didn't even know that was a job. And it's
Yeah.
funny when I tell people what I do, they're like, I didn't even know that was a job. And I'm like, I had no idea until I started doing it. And it's been
Yeah.
awesome, and I'm so glad the stars aligned the way they did, and yeah,
Yeah.
I love what I do.
That's awesome. How cool. And like, yeah, it's just funny things we start. We're like, oh, I'll just pick up this little hobby. And then it's
Yes,
like,
it turns into,
just
well, I feel
kidding.
like a lot of people, creative people can relate to like picking up a creative hobby and then it turning in, like you have friends and family. Because for a minute I was doing photography too, just for
Oh,
fun.
okay.
And then people are like, can you take our family photos? And then more they tell people. And so that kind of evolved into this unintentional, I'm taking photos on the side for friends and family.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think that's so kind of typical for creative
Hmm.
people where it kind of evolves into,
Yeah.
your profession or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, oh, I have a hobby. I'm going to monetize it. It's like the
Yeah.
millennial urge. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, that
well,
probably factors into it too. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I'm like, what hobby have I not monetized? Nope. Every single one.
Everything.
Fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so
Same.
funny.
Yeah.
Um, so you mentioned your kids. How many kids do you have?
I have three kids. I have
Three
two
kids.
boys and a girl. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Nice.
they're all, I'm an empty nester. So my youngest is 21.
Okay.
And yeah, they're amazing. I know I'm biased, but
No,
they're amazing humans and doing really great. And yeah, yeah, three
that's
kids.
awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm an empty nester too. So
You are?
yeah.
No way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How many
I
kids
mean,
do you have?
two step kids, but like I've been stepmom for 17 years. So like
Wow,
long
dang.
time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you totally know
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. Two boys and they're fantastic. And again,
Oh, yeah.
biased, but also like I got so lucky as as a stepmom because it's like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I guess I have kids now. But I also was like, how can I not have these kids in my life, at the same time? So
yeah. Well, it's a
it,
lot to, it's a huge responsibility.
it
And
really
yeah,
is,
that's
regardless of
so
whether they're
awesome
your own or
though.
not. But
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, but yeah,
Okay.
that empty
Very
nesting feeling
cool.
is like, ah, but then
Yeah.
you're like, why are they gone?
I know. Oh, it was a huge adjustment at first. And because you're used to all the noise and the like, I don't
Yeah,
know, just
yeah,
them being there and being more a part of their lives. And then, yeah, when they leave, you're like, I don't know.
I know. I
It's
know.
just
I was like,
the quiet is just a lot, and then I don't know. It
yeah,
definitely you have to be so intentional about spending time, making an effort to spend time and
hmm,
have this a good relationship with them. So
yeah,
yeah, but it's
yeah,
a great adult kids is so much fun. Like
hmm,
they're officially your friend. You're like yeah, you
yeah,
can do all the fun things together, and
yeah,
obviously still their mom, but there's that new element factored in that I love. So like
yeah.
after this, I'm going to the mall with my daughter after this.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, like we just do so much stuff with our boys and it's
Yeah.
so fun because like sometimes they're like take off with their dad and I'm like bye, and other
Bye.
times I'm like I'm coming and they're like yeah
Yeah.
come, you should come, it's like, and we, it's just
Yeah. They
funny because
secretly, they love, I
yeah,
think so anyways. Like
yeah, no, I
they,
definitely,
yeah. And
I
when they
def
get older, when they're become older adults too, they're more vocal about how much they, enjoy your
yeah,
company or whatnot. So
yeah, yeah, it's like because last summer my husband and I we were like went to Spain, we were gonna do the Camino. He finished it, I didn't, I came home early, but um and our oldest was like, I'm coming too. And he like paid his way and did everything, but he was
oh,
like, I want to
cool.
come too. We're like, he followed us all the way to Europe to walk across a country like 500 miles. And
Oh,
he was like,
yeah,
I'm coming. So I'm like,
that says
okay.
says a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
that's
he
awesome.
found groups of other like young adults, more his age that he kind of ended up hanging out with more, which was fine.
Yeah.
But he would like catch up with his dad or like meet up with
Yeah.
his dad every once in a while along the way. And it was
Oh,
like
yeah. Well,
just a
that sounds
month
like
of
the
fun.
ideal sort of vacation, I don't know, to spend
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They
Very
had a
cool.
they had a blast. But anyway, well that's fun. I think it's like such a weird time of life because like I am, younger than my husband, but
Hmm. Hmm.
So having
Yeah, you
grown
look,
up,
that's why I had that reaction when you said you're an empty nester. I'm
I mean,
like,
I'm 39. I'm not like young, but
no, that is so, well, I guess I was 39 when I became, or no, 40. I was 40 when I became an empty nester. So
yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll get the same reaction sometimes too when I say that, but which, yeah,
Yeah.
when you said it, I was like, no way.
Yeah. Well, I was just as shocked. So then I was like, well, this is something we have in common because we look like
Yeah.
babies and we have adult children. So it's great.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I didn't know that. That is really cool to
yeah.
know because
Yeah.
it's not common. So,
No, no. And like some of my really close friends, they're having babies or they've got
yes.
toddlers, and I'm like, cool. I've
Yeah,
got adults.
I'm the only one of my friends that for sure is an empty nester, but yeah, I have friends who have like a 4-year-old and
Yeah.
or baby friends who just had a baby. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
can't
Which is,
imagine.
no, I know. I'm like,
I
oh,
think,
I'm way past it.
yeah, I think it's awesome, but yeah, at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm going through all those phases of raising a kid. I don't have any desire to like do any of that again with like if I had stepchildren or something, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
I
good.
know.
I think, yeah, three doing that 3 times. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, no thanks.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
work. It's so much work,
Yeah.
even if your
Yeah.
kids are awesome and amazing. So,
It's still, yeah, it's like almost like this is a hot take, so people might get mad at me, but I don't care. I think like when you choose to put parenting first and like to really be present in your kids' lives, it's hard as fuck. And not
oh
just
yeah.
like hard because they're driving you nuts or hard because like there's all that, but it's hard because you have to stop and you have to think about every little response and you
Yeah.
have to weigh every situation and
Yeah.
you have to go, am I just feeling this way because it's default for me because that's how I was treated as a kid or
Mm-hmm.
whatever? Or is this how I really feel? Like, what is this triggering for me? You like really ultimately shows you like what you need to heal. Like,
Yeah. Oh
because
yes. Oh, for sure.
your
Yeah.
kids will trigger you. There's
Yes.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They will trigger
Yeah.
you. And
And I
just,
feel like the teenage phase of raising kids, well, first of all, it's so complicated, as a parent,
mhm,
because they're wanting more independence to be treated more like an adult, and
yeah,
you're still trying to help them navigate and figure out,
yeah,
important things in life, but you're never more confronted with your own shortcomings, than I think during the teenage young adult phase of raising a kid. And I think it's ultimately a really good thing. And the most important thing is just to own up to those shortcomings and just do better, like don't expect perfection of yourself as a parent, no one is. It's the just yeah, realizing where you failed or let them down and then do better. But for sure, like
mhm,
I think with that, not, I think having kids has been so beneficial in that way. And
yeah,
you have that strong desire to want to be better for them, so to do better, be better. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. I think it's definitely an opportunity to look yourself in the mirror and go,
Yes.
okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm not so great in this way. And yeah,
yeah. And just being
maybe.
able to say sorry, like,
Oh, yes. Go saying sorry. I mean, just with any relationship goes a long
yeah,
way. Yeah, I totally
yeah.
agree.
It was
But
a
yeah,
really good practice.
yeah, yes, I totally agree.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, well, that's cool. I'm glad we had that in common because I always feel like a weirdo with I'm like,
Yeah.
I have old kids and people are like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, I just had a baby. I'm like, congratulations.
Yeah.
Which I am
That's
again, like it's you do you, but I was like very young when I met my husband and he was
yeah.
like, I'm done. I have kids. I don't want any more. And I was like,
Yeah.
great, fantastic. I don't want anybody to get me pregnant. So
Yeah,
sign me up.
perfect. Yeah.
And he was
No,
like,
there's so many positives too. I mean, having kids so young, obviously there's all the potential of like I definitely wasn't mature enough to when I became a mom and definitely failed as a mom in the first, few years of their life, because I had my kids really close together too.
Okay.
They're all about 16 months apart.
Okay.
So I was 21 by the time I had my three kids. And
Wow.
and that's not a good idea. Don't maybe don't do that. I just got really lucky where it worked out for me. But you know, ideally, you don't want your kids to, to bring humans into the world when you're not fully, your brain hasn't fully developed,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful it worked out the way they did and they turned out the way they did and everything is mostly okay. Okay, like
Yeah.
obviously, you again, you're not a perfect parent. That's impossible,
Yeah.
but for the most part, they did okay. But yeah, it's tough. It's
Hmm.
the hardest job in the world for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And like, it was funny because I was like, oh, I'm gonna have kids so young. And then I was like, wait, I don't want any kids because I'm the oldest. Like my mom had me
Mm,
super young too. And like,
really? Okay.
yeah, she was like still in high school when I was born. Um,
Wow. Okay.
and then my younger sister is the same age as my oldest stepson.
Wow. So there's a big age
There's
gap between.
huge gap.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, huge age gap. So it's just kind of, I was just like, I'm not doing this. And then just
Yeah.
had like kind of built-in kids, which was great. And so yeah, my youngest
Yeah.
is 20 and then 24. My older is
24.
24. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I have a 24-year-old too.
yeah.
Okay.
So
And he's a boy too.
yeah,
So
yeah. So
anyways,
it's just
okay.
kind of funny, like yeah, but yeah, like you said, like the relationship shifts, and I think like it's just been so important, I think, to be mindful of that because I think some parents are still like so overly involved in their adult children's lives, but
Oh
then
yeah.
or they're like so hands off that their kids are just like struggling. And I'm like, it's
Yeah,
such a hard balance.
finding that balance. So that's what when I say it's complicated, it is
Yeah.
such a like delicate balance of like
Yeah.
how much like you do have to relinquish some of that control because they do have to make mistakes in order to learn and grow and be like optimal
Yeah.
adults. I don't know if that's the right word, but because of when they're teenagers, you only have a short amount of time before they're going to
Yeah.
college, they're out in the world, and you don't
Yeah.
want them having to learn all those things, a good chunk of those things, the really hard things.
Yeah.
um, you're just like, okay, I sheltered you from all these things. Now go out into the world. You kind of want to expose them to some of
Yeah.
that. I think anyways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I agree. It's such a hard balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, that's cool. How
Yeah,
like
very cool to find out how much we have in common.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. It's like I feel so seen.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, I guess with all your creative endeavors and like your different businesses and stuff, like did that feel like did it feel more freeing to be able to kind of have your own gig going on while parenting, or was it like, shoot, I have to make all this work, or did it feel more flexible? Like how did that feel for you?
Yeah. Well, I got super lucky where I was able to do these little side gigs. My ex, he was able to financially support us with his income
Okay.
and I could do my own thing without too much pressure on me, which was I'm very fortunate in
Hmm.
that way. But I've been creative my whole life, so having some sort of creative thing going on, it was necessary for my
Yeah.
mental health to just have doing something creative. So it never felt like I mean, of course, like the invitations, for example, like
Mhm.
there would be frustrations or feeling overwhelmed for sure. Even when pattern design, I have the frustrations and feeling overwhelmed or feeling like I'm on the verge of burning out, kind of thing,
Uh-huh.
or being burnt out. But overall, it's a very rewarding experience for me to, yeah, do
Yeah.
the sort of side creative things. So
Yeah.
yeah, and even as a parent, what's funny? I feel like I had more time when I was raising my kids to do all the creative things. I feel like now as an empty nester, you would think, I don't know if it's just because my business has grown and there's more to do on the back
Mhm.
end, but I just feel like I have less time to sew and create than I did when I was raising my kids. So, and
Yeah.
I'm constantly like, how is that how is that possible? But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always feeling like I don't have enough time to do
Yeah.
the things I wanted, like so.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
No, I kind of feel like the same way because I made so many more quilts when the boys were still living here. And like
yeah, me
I was
too.
a full-time teacher and I was, yeah,
Wow. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
And when it was more my hobby instead of like my job, I feel like I had more time to just make, but I also think I was like more intentionally setting aside time to make the things I wanted to make.
Mm,
And I don't know, like obviously it's a little different in terms of like our businesses are slightly different,
yeah.
but I think it's just that difference of like now I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like I really
Oh
don't
no,
know what it is. I'm
yeah.
like
I don't
I
know.
don't have an answer for this. Why am I trying to say it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
definitely
do
feels
think
different.
there's an element when you're raising your kids and you're more often feeling like, okay, I really need my alone time. I need to separate myself and be creative.
Yeah.
And being an empty nester, there's that element has sort of been taken away.
Yeah.
So, I don't have this need to sort of escape or, so
Yeah.
I think that kind of factors into it. I also feel like when you get older, you slow down in some ways. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still relatively young, but I'm starting to feel that like
Yeah.
slow down sort of, I don't know,
Yeah.
desire or
Yeah. The
need.
energy's just not there.
Yeah, I wish. I
Yeah.
wish.
Yeah. Like I'm still active. I wouldn't say
Yes,
I'm
I
not
feel
like
like I'm
so
still so
I'm like
busy.
so busy. I'm so active. I exercise. I like, it's
Yeah.
like I do all these things. We like run an Airbnb out of our house. I have the two
Yeah.
business, the podcast and the quilting business. And
Yeah.
like we're always bopping away doing stuff like hiking or, just going and doing stuff. And so I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
busy, but I'm like, I
Yeah,
literally have
how did
no time.
I
Yeah.
no, yeah, how did I do this all before? And
Yeah.
you were probably just as busy, like a full-time teacher.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's I don't get it either. I don't.
You're like, why is it 8 p.m. right now? Like, I don't understand.
The
Like,
days are getting shorter. That's the answer. That's
yeah. Yeah. It feels wild. But um, so how quickly after you released Rainy Day did you start designing your next pattern? Like,
I
did
really
inspiration like strike right away, or were you like,
yeah. So Rainy Day was inspired by a cousin of mine had posted a photo of her holding a greeting card that just was a cloud with raindrops and like it had a sort of scene, a rainy scene on it.
hmm
And I had already been doing, like I said, weekly tutorials for the store I was working for. And originally I was like, oh, I can make this like a free tutorial, this pattern. And
yeah,
then I was like, you know what? Because I see all these patterns being sold in the shop, and I'm like, maybe I could do that, outside of the store display. And so I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. And this, I learned so much with the. Sorry, on a tangent a little bit.
no, you're good.
I learned so much with the first pattern because the pattern I sold through the store display, I
Yeah.
didn't have a tech editor, I didn't have testers, I made it in Microsoft Word. It was a hot mess. So with Rainy Day, I'm like, I'm getting a tech editor. I'm getting so many testers. I had a graphic designer help me design the cover,
Oh, nice.
that kind of stuff. So, anyways, I released Rainy Day. It was inspired by the greeting card. I am a huge fan of flowers, floral, anything like that. So I always knew
hmm
my next pattern would be flower themed. And I want to say I released Marigold, which was a Rainy Day is a Drunkard's Path quilt,
Uh-huh.
and so is Marigold. And I released that, I want to say 4 to 6 weeks or something after Rainy Day.
Oh, wow.
Again, I don't know. I could never do that now. I could never. I don't know how I did that, how I accomplished that. But yeah, I released it like a month later after Rainy Day, and that was my second pattern. Um, yeah, and that was my first flower pattern. And yeah, so yeah, very quickly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And like I think, well, from the very first time I saw your patterns, which I think it was the daisy one. What's that one called?
Fresh as a daisy.
Fresh as a daisy. I don't know why I
Yeah.
can't ever
No,
remember the
I
full. I'm
don't.
like, it's daisies. Um,
I'm
I
my pattern. Actually, I have a funny story about my pattern names. Like
yeah.
I get them confused with each other quite a bit. And I have a friend who helps me fill orders, and we were filling a pretty big distributor order.
Uh-huh.
And they asked for, I forget how many of Stay Sharp, and I gave them that same amount, but Snap Happy.
Oh,
Yeah, I did that two times with two different distributor orders. She's like, she's probably like, I don't want your help
you
anymore.
know what? Stop.
But I'll have someone be like, what's your pattern name? And I'm like, give me a second.
Can't
I
tell you. I don't know.
don't. So
It's all
I
good.
don't blame anyone that, yeah, I don't expect anyone to remember, the
No.
names of my patterns when I can struggle with it at times. So
Yeah. Well, I didn't make it. My friend was making it for a friend of
yeah.
hers, and I was like, what the fuck is this? It's so cute. And
Yeah.
then I think it was I don't know, it was a while after that because I was like kind of newish still into quilting when she was making that. And I was just like ping ponging all over the place, making all these different things, like whatever. And then I was spending more time at my local quilt shop because obviously, whatever, they have a sample of sparrows up, and I was like, what
Oh, cool.
is this? And I'm still collecting fabrics to be able to make mine because I
Yeah.
want it to be so scrappy, and like I have this vision in my head, and I'm like setting fabrics aside as they like fit the vision. So
Yeah.
um
Very cool.
but I think the thing I've just noticed is that when I see one of your patterns, no matter what it is or where it is, I'm like, immediately I know it's yours. And so, like, your design style is so unique and signature to you. And like,
Oh, thank you. That really means a lot to hear because that's definitely I've heard that before, and whenever I hear it, I'm the same amount of surprise, like, oh, that's like, I, not that yeah, I guess in a way I'm not expecting people to feel that way, or like I want to have it to be authentic and like
yeah.
my style.
Mhm.
So yeah, anyways, that's just ni really nice to hear. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's just enjoyable, I think, more than anything to see like someone who stays true to themselves and their voice, and like it's very clear and consistent in like the best way possible.
Oh, thank
Because
you.
anytime I see your designs, I'm just like, yep, that's Lindsey. Like I know it
Oh,
immediately. And
well, thank you.
like it makes me sound crazy, but I'm also like I'm in Instagram, like I'm in the quilting world constantly all day, every day. So like
Yeah.
it's refreshing almost for me as a consumer, and like, just someone who's constantly looking for inspiration for clients, and for, like, oh, do you like this? Do you like this? And it's like when I know I can like trust and rely on certain designers to have like the thing that's in my head, or like I can direct people
Mm,
directly because I'm like, they're explaining something to me and I'm like, go here because I know they're
yeah.
gonna have exactly what you're looking for. It's just like it makes it makes my life easier and more beautiful, and it just helps, like, I don't know, I just love when I know a designer just by seeing an image of their design. It's like
I
it's
feel
just
the
so
same way
nice.
about other
Yeah.
artists. Yeah. Like that, it's hard to describe that feeling, but
Yeah.
like
It's just like,
certain artists, you don't even you see it for a second, whatever,
yeah.
art posted online or in person, and immediately you're like, I know who that is.
Yeah.
And it's like a very happy, exciting feeling in a way if you're a big fan of them. And yeah,
Yeah.
so
I think it like tickles, maybe some dopamine or some, like a
yeah,
feel good, because I think our brains
that's
are
put
looking for,
something familiar and
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
it's like a comfort sort of thing, I guess,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
I
I
don't
think
know.
like, yeah, finding something familiar for our eyes to rest on and go, oh, I know
Yeah,
what this is.
yeah,
I can rest for a moment. It's not like taking in a bunch of like random information of like trying to figure something out. It's like, oh, I figured it out. I know this. This
yeah.
is good. This is comfortable. Like
Yes, yeah, I think that's what it is too.
it's a
Yeah.
good feeling. But wow. Okay, so I got my fangirl moments out of the way. Um, don't
I never know
touch
what to do
me.
when
You're like, I don't know what to do
I'm.
with my hands.
Thank
I
you.
know. I'm
I
sorry.
try not to
I
make
feel
it awkward, but I always do.
no, you don't.
But
You don't. I feel the same way when people are like, I love your podcast. I'm like, awesome. I'm like,
awesome.
sorry, I don't know what to say. I'm so weird.
Just like
Um, like,
yeah.
oh, me? Who are
Me?
you talking to? It's not me, is
Who
it?
me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Silly. My mom's like, it's so cute when people recognize you. I'm like, Mom, you're very cute. No, I'm just kidding. I love my mom. I'm like, damn
Oh,
right.
is your mom one of the like my mom if she's in a quilt store? She's like, do you know
Yeah.
who this is? I'm
Yeah.
like, stop right
I
now.
know. Like, gosh, I'm trying to be anonymous. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Okay, I need to regroup myself because I threw my own self off by being a weirdo. So,
No, definitely not.
okay, well, before we talk more about your projects, I know you just finished up a quilt along, which at the time that we're recording this for
Wallflower.
Wallflower. See, again, I'm like, I don't know.
I know it's okay. Don't worry about it. There's
Wallflower.
a lot to remember too now because it's
Yeah.
been it'll be 10 years next month and
Yeah.
it's over 40 patterns. So
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
I don't know the exact number, but I release about four a year, so it's
Okay.
around there. It's a
40-ish.
lot to even for me to remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find like when it's time to like name it and like come up with kind of images, like does it feel ever like a struggle like, oh, I don't know what to name this. I've got so many
Oh,
or
yes.
okay.
Naming is the hardest part for
Yeah.
me. I'm just so like I'm so much better. Yeah, I mean, even trying to
Yeah.
verbalize what I'm thinking right now is I'm just not the best with words. I'm way
Mm,
more, I'm better at expressing whatever I'm feeling through, my designs or whatever feeling I'm trying to convey. I'm better at it through design and stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, anything that involves words.
Mm-hmm.
But I do, I don't know. I am very intentional about the names. Like I'll take a while before, until I feel 100% like happy with the name. And I'm asking friends and family for their help. I've even used Chat GPT or I'm like, I designed
Yeah.
this theme. And usually our ideas are really dumb and not helpful, but it
Like that's
is,
not it.
it is the more challenging part of pattern design for me is the
Hmm.
naming the pattern. So
Yeah. I would assume I'm like even like naming a business naming, I'm like, I don't know. No, dude.
oh yeah, naming a bit. Oh yeah, and that's a whole semi regret is a strong word, but
Mm,
when I came with pen and paper patterns, I didn't even think I was going to be doing pattern design for as long as I have been. I came up with a kind of a generic name that could apply to any sort of creative pursuit I had because I don't know. Like and that's where pen and paper came from because I'm drawing. There's some sort of element of drawing or,
right.
that kind of thing. So I'm like, why? I wish I would have done something more quilts themed or something shorter, maybe not a, a tongue twister. And
Yeah. Yeah. My
but
quilting
yeah,
business is Sweet Pea Design Company. So I'm like,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm in the same boat. I'm like,
Okay.
cool. Have to
Yeah,
say
I wish
that
I would have done
forever.
something more succinct and yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fine now for the most part. But yeah, naming things not what my strong suit, like I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
Not the
hard.
It is hard.
It's hard. And like with my business, because we started with my parents and my husband and I, like we were, partners, but it was like my mom and I running it mostly.
Okay.
And
Is your mom a quilter too?
yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Okay.
been
Is
sewing
that how
for
you got
her
into it?
not really, honestly, which is
Oh,
so
okay.
funny. And she was like, oh my gosh, she like rolls her eyes every time I tell the story. But um she's been sewing like since she was a kid. Her grandma,
Oh,
like they
okay.
have a ranch like in like kind of central Idaho, northern Idaho. And so she grew up going to the ranch and her grandma taught her how to sew and like cook and all this stuff. And so um like she's always sewn. That's always been her thing. And as a kid, I had so much anxiety, and I would like want to learn how to sew, and then as soon as I'd sit down at the machine, if anything like kind of seemed like it was going wrong, I was like, I can't do it. I would just like,
Abort,
no,
abort.
yeah, I'm out of here. If I because it was like that machine was her, that was her outlet, that was her creative space. Like, so if I
Yeah.
had done anything to mess that up, I would have died. Um,
Yeah.
like bury me under all my stuffed animals. I can't live.
Yeah.
So I just was like, nope, I did, but we were like crafty, creative, whatever. And
Yeah.
then like in 2017, a couple of my friends had been quilting for a few years. And then the other two of us, me and Miranda, were like, that's cute. We don't do that. And they were like,
Yeah.
you're gonna make a fucking quilt. We were like, no, we're not. And they were like, yeah, you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
So they finally forced us to make a quilt. And it was terrible and amazing. And I
As
made my
all first quilts are, I think.
well, and
Yeah.
I not only was it my first time like actually really sewing, not just like hemming a curtain poorly
Yes.
or like sewing a random little piece
Like
of
a
scrap
pillow
fabric.
or
Yeah, like
yeah.
it's like, oh cool.
Yeah.
But I chose to make a twin size. Yeah, because I'm like,
Over
if I'm making
overachiever.
yes, hello, eldest millennial daughter.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, same. I'm
yeah,
also eldest millennial.
there you go. So this is why we are who we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I made my top. I like we started at like 10 o'clock in the morning and I finished sewing my top at like midnight. I went home and I just sobbed. I was like, this is the fucking worst. And like I was so stressed. Like, but it was like they
Uh,
walked us through everything, held our hand, like, and
yeah.
there's some seams popping, the binding's kind of coming apart, but like I love that quilt. And
Yeah.
I was like, if I'm gonna make this, I want to make something big and usable.
Mm,
I'm tall, I'm 5'8", but like
yeah.
I'm
Okay.
these little
I'm 5'8" ish.
yeah,
So
see? There
dang,
we go. Oh
we're
my
the same person.
gosh. We're like soul sisters. This is great. But just like throw quilts, throw blankets. I'm like, nothing's ever big enough. Like I want to be able to curl
Yeah.
up in it and be
Yes.
feel like covered, not just
Yeah.
like,
And not
oh,
just from like your
it's
waist
scrunched up.
down.
I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, it's like if it's up to here, it's like my feet aren't covered, and that's
Yes.
just a no-go. So um anyway, so that was kind of cool. And then I finally like made another quilt, and I kept finding stuff I wanted to make. And I've always loved fabric because my mom is a sewist, and like
Yeah.
we would always be going to Joann's and picking out fabric and doing stuff. She would always, do stuff on the side for people too, like, you
Yeah.
know, hem wedding dresses and make
Oh, okay. Oh,
curtains
wow.
and help people
Yeah.
cover their reupholster stuff, like light. I say light reupholstery because she's not gonna like take your old furniture apart and redo it. Like she'll cover
Reupholstering is so hard.
yeah, she
I
did a few.
reupholstered a chair and I was like, no one is allowed to
Yeah,
sit on this now.
yeah.
Because
She
if anything
reupholstered.
happens to this after the literal blood, sweat, and tears, I'm gonna
Yeah,
cry.
yeah.
So
No joke. She did reupholster one of our chairs like when I was like a teenager, and she was like, nobody touch this. She
yes.
did it in like it was beautiful fabric, but it was like a creamy white background with like
Oh,
blue, like dark blue,
something that would show like
giant
stains and what.
plaid. Yeah. And I'm like, my youngest brother was like 2 or 3 at the time. I was like, what did you, mom? She was like, I don't know.
It's
She's
like
like,
the urge just to make it cute overrides
yeah,
the being rational or
yeah. And then
practical about it.
yeah, she's like, none of the stripes match, like nothing. She's like, I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, so I mean, she's done that stuff. So I've always like been around it, and I've always loved fabric. And so when I saw Amy Butler fabric like in 2017, 2016, because my mom started quilting, she always like sewn, but like she didn't start quilting until like 2016-ish.
Okay.
Like she did like a little bit before me because one of her friends was like, my mom has a long arm, and she was like, what?
Uh,
And
oh,
so
cool. Yeah.
she started learning to quilt, and then my friends got me to quilt. She was like, oh, now you're sewing, oh, now you're gonna. I was like, you didn't sit me down and like hold a knife at me and like
Yeah, you had to threaten my
so
life.
yeah, like it to like make it worth it. No, anyway, so yeah, it's been 7. Wait, what year is it? 2015. Yeah, so it's been like
Yeah,
eight
so about
years.
7 years.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've had my business for, oh my God, on July 1st, it'll be 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my anniversary is July 18th.
Nice.
So, or
Okay.
July 19th, one of those.
One of those
Um,
days.
yeah, yeah. It is, and I'm sure you feel the same way, but it's like, how could it possibly be
Yeah,
this long already? It's like
I know.
flown by.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
that's
it's so
that's really cool though, your story.
thank you. Yeah, it's good. And I mean, very obviously quickly got obsessed. So I think
Yes,
it's like,
because once you get past that first quilt and you start
mhm,
building those skills, I mean, you're still gonna, mess up and make mistakes, obviously. Like I'm still learning and new things with each quilt or improving my skills. But you have to get over that hurdle, like because it does require a lot of patience.
mhm. Yeah.
Um, and it's a lot of work, time investment, all of that. But you get better with each quilt
Hmm.
and then it becomes more and more fun. Yeah,
Hmm.
as you get better at those things. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like you said, once you get that first one on the way, you're like, oh, I can do this. Like this is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
why was I
I
so
think things
hesitant?
starts clicking and making sense. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The seam allowance is, I think, all overall the hardest thing to
Like a
kind of
consistent seam allowance.
consistent. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, because some
Yeah.
of my early quilts, the seams are starting to pop. Because I was like, I don't want to like waste any of this fabric. Like, I want you to see the whole thing. And if I
Yeah.
do this full seam allowance, and now those seams are busting, and I'm like,
You
ding
realize
dong.
the importance of
Yeah,
doing a consistent seam allowance.
yeah,
Yeah, that and every machine is different too. Where like
uh,
my Janome, it has a more generous seam allowance, and the issue is I feel like my needle, I could be
no,
just imagining this, but I'll have it positioned the same way, and my seam allowance will be perfect, and then I make my next quilt, and it's like just moved a hair one way or the other, and then my seam allowance isn't as accurate. My Juki,
yeah.
I don't want to jinx it, but perfect seam allowance every time.
Oh
And
my gosh.
that's all I sew on now because of that. Because it's
Yeah.
so frustrating if your seam allowance is just even a hair too big or too small, because that adds up real quick.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel you. It's tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to perfect that.
I'm teaching a little kid how to like quilt. I'm
Oh,
giving her sewing lessons.
yeah.
I'm like qualified to do this. I mean, I do have a teaching degree, so yeah, I'm good.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
highly educated. This is fine. I'm a master. It's great.
I'm just sitting here wondering how you possibly have the time
I don't. I
to.
mean, I don't.
I don't.
I mean, she just comes every other week and it's just for an hour.
Okay.
So it's like not a lot of pressure and
Yeah.
that's works for them. I mean,
How old is she?
she's 9, about to be
Oh, okay.
10. And
That's a
so
good age
yeah,
where, that
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. And
They're
that's the
they're
age where
more
I was teaching.
capable
Yeah.
to independently sew a little bit and they kind of get it.
Yeah. Well, she'd been sewing like scrunchies and stuff on her own already. Like she already had a
Oh,
machine and like,
okay.
but her
Yeah.
her aunt was like, she's like so into this and like none of us can help her. Like, do you teach kids? And I was like, yeah, I do actually.
Yeah.
Because I do want
Yeah.
to. It's like I run my business out of my house. So I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
have the space to have like 8 kids, like whatever.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
felt like a good toe in for me to kind of like, okay, where am I at with being able to teach a child this? So,
Mm,
um,
yeah. To just kind of try it out and see
yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe not 8 kids, but do like
yeah,
3 or 4 and
yeah.
yeah, I think that
It's
would be
so
fun too,
fun.
honestly. My friend who works for me, she has 3 girls,
Mm,
and once a year they'll come over here, and usually we're doing a sewing project together,
uh-huh.
and I think it's so much fun. And they
Yeah,
love it. Like their excitement for it makes me excited, and
yeah,
yeah, so it is fun to
yeah.
teach kids how to sew for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. The but yeah, the seam allowance for her, I like use this like the 1/4 inch tape, like the cluck cluck sew tape. I'm like, hey,
Cluck cluck sew
I was like,
tape.
I've got this on my machines. This is like everybody uses this. I'm like, even like big major quilters who I'm like super scared to talk to, like they use it. She was like,
All the time.
okay. Yeah. I'm like,
It's
and I
literally, oh no, it's not on my machine. It usually is.
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's like, I'm like, it's like masking tape, so you can take it on, take it off, like
Yeah.
whatever. If you need to replace it, you can. You get a huge roll, whatever. And she was like, okay. So we put that on her machine, and it was just, it's been so cute. And so because I have the
Yeah.
long arm, I'm like able to take her like completely start to finish and like,
Oh, and I bet that's fun for her to see the long arm in
oh yeah.
action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started like loading her. We're loading a practice piece so she can learn how to use the long arm before we put her quilt top on because
Hmm.
she like built her quilt top already. And anyway, it's just been so interesting like okay, this is definitely like it doesn't some stuff just doesn't make sense until it makes sense. And like
Hmm.
I
Yes.
think I was like kind of hard on myself for certain things for a while and then but then teaching it, I'm like, "Oh, yeah." Like
Yeah.
when I'm saying telling her how to cut fabric or like showing her how to line it up on the mat and she's just kind of like, "Okay." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No."
Oh,
I'm
and
like,
teaching
"No."
kids the rotary cutter with kids,
Hmm.
that gives me like heart palpitations.
Yeah. We were very I was like, "You listen to me." Like
But
this
I'm
is a
not
big deal.
sending you back to your mom with one less finger. Like you need
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. I was like, I've been so fortunate, knock on wood, that I've like not
I
had
haven't either, and I'm such a clumsy,
I've
accident-prone
I
person,
know.
and I
I'm
don't know
like,
how I
no,
haven't.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm like, knock on wood for real.
I know,
Because
knock on
I'm
wood.
so scared. I've had like needles go through my finger. Like
Me too. I've had that. Yeah.
I've like done other dumb stuff, but like the rotary cutter. Anyway, so that was definitely, but she's been so good and like I had her they were like, "We're so sorry, but like can her little sister come?" Like blah blah blah. I'm like, "That's fine." The on
Yeah.
this last time she came and I was just like, "Hey, do you want to color?" She's like, "Yeah," because I've got a million coloring books. She was like, I have this like caddy with coloring books and color pencils and
Yeah.
stuff. And like I'm a child, but also like when my nieces and nephew come over, I'm like, "You guys want to color?"
Oh, yeah.
And so she was like, "That's so cool." And
The
so like kind of
sewing, like,
yeah, the sewing and
yeah.
just like the coloring. She was just like, "It's like a wonderland for these like little munchkins." And I'm like, "Get in here, let's make some
Yeah.
stuff." So
Yeah, because
anyway,
again, yeah, it's
yeah.
like even with adults that share the same hobby, like
Yeah.
there's just this instant like connection or just joy
Hmm.
you feel talking about this
Yeah.
shared, hobby or exposing the kids to this fun thing and or just how fun it can be
Yeah.
is a lot of fun. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like because like I know from my mom being so creative and sewing and making so much stuff, I kind of always had that like idea of like I can make that, like I can do whatever. Like, do you think your kids have that from you?
Well, so it's fun. My daughter was interested in sewing for like a minute. I also think my kids were constantly around me sewing. And I think in a way it kind of caused them to be like, ugh, like
Yeah.
that's not cool. Mom does
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
now, so my daughter has no interest in sewing anymore, but my oldest son,
Hmm.
he's learning how to sew. Like he just made oven mitts the other day, sent me photos.
Yeah.
We made a skirt. He was over visiting. He lives in another state
Okay.
right now, but he was visiting recently. We made a skirt for his girlfriend and just
Oh,
spent I don't know how many hours making this like wrap skirt for her. And he's getting into it, and that
that's
is so
awesome.
fun. And he has like a genuine like I don't know like is so curious about it and wanting to learn and makes and just make stuff. So he's also he does all kinds of like pottery, and
Mm.
he did like a book binding class. He's always doing something like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he
Yeah.
recently got into sewing, and selfishly, I'm loving that. So
Yeah. That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it took me a while to like recognize that like, oh, I got this like from my mom because she was always like, I could
yeah,
make that or like I could figure that out or I can do that,
yeah,
It's like,
yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't even answer your question.
no, it's okay.
We've never had that conversation. That would be so cool if I found out that because of what they were exposed to, growing up, caused them to be a little fearless in that way. But I don't know for sure.
Mm,
I don't know. I'm always like my son. I'm like, I just love how he's willing to, he's just up for learning anything, like
yeah.
just trying it out and doing it. And I'm a little more, well, also I feel like I don't have a lot of free time, even though we were just talking about,
Yeah.
but I genuinely, I'm like, I want to do like pottery classes and
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. And I'm like,
Hmm.
the time aspect.
I
But
know.
I'm always, I think he goes beyond what the
Yeah.
fearlessness I might have had,
Yeah.
when I was raising them.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. To answer your question, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That would be cool if, yeah, if I did influence that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes like especially I know when I was younger, I was just like, I don't know, whatever. Like I'm an adult. I'm gonna carve my own path and do whatever I want. And
Yeah.
the older I get, the more I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just a fractal of my parents. I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. And
mean, obviously.
I do think like my mom watching her and just who she is as a person,
Hmm.
um, definitely influenced. I mean, obviously, parents are always influencing you, in
Yeah.
some way, but I for sure, like I very much admire and respect who she is as a person, and that's a lot of who I strive to be. So, not even just creatively, but
Yeah.
I know she personally definitely influenced me in that way. So,
Yeah.
and thinking that I can, um, like not to be scared about trying, like even starting my own business. I didn't put a ton of, like, I didn't overthink it.
Yeah.
I just did it. And that's kind of how it's been with most of my creative pursuits.
Hmm.
Um, I'm like, I can do it and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that I got from my mom for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So kind of fun to like recognize as I get older. Like I'll definitely like say things or do things and I'm like, whoop, that was Michelle.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, even I'll have people be like, you sound like my voice. You sound
Uh-huh.
like your mom. You sound like Gail
Uh,
Zerby. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, but
yeah.
for
It's
sure.
just funny.
And yeah, as you get older, you definitely see more of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting. Like, I mean, that's so cool that your oldest son is like exploring and trying new things and like
Hmm.
learning handcraft things. Cause I think that's like a different brain builder in and of itself is like making stuff with your hands, whatever it is. Like
Hmm.
you have to get detail oriented and you have to get focused
Yeah.
on like what you're doing. And yeah, there's like a lot of learning and skill building in it. And so,
Yeah. And I feel like even when I did the quilt making class,
yeah,
learning a lot of those skills are so applicable to other sewing projects. Like you can apply a lot of that to bag making or so
yeah,
doing these like learning pottery or anything like that, you can apply a lot of those skills that you learn by doing those things to other creative, hobbies or pursuits. So, or even within the same hobby.
yeah,
So, yeah, I think it's helpful in that way. Um, like I said, yeah, you can definitely apply, a lot, whatever skills you learn. I even felt like when I worked at the scrapbook fabric store, what I
mhm,
learned from or the skills um, I got from doing the weekly tutorials, the store displays, all of that stuff. I could apply a lot of those things into my business, or
yeah,
like it was a free way for me to build those skills and become better in certain areas regarding my business. So
yeah,
I didn't have to learn all of that stuff, when I started my business. I already had a good foundation of, those skills already
yeah,
already there. So, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's so
But
cool.
same applies. Say same applies to when you learn a new creative hobby for sure. You're building skills and learning new things and just being better with, yeah, those fine motor
Hmm.
skills too. That's always a good thing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. I I worked at my local quilt shop for a little bit and
Yeah.
was teaching the long arming
Oh
certification
yeah.
course that like
When did you get into long arm? You were already doing long arming before that?
I started I think I took the class. Let's see. I made my first quilt top in like February of 2017 and then I took the long arm certification class in January of 2018.
Oh,
So it was like
cool.
a year
Okay.
later and then my mom and I took it at the same time. So we just, learned how to use the hand guided machines at the quilt shop. We
This,
could use
okay.
the
And then you
pantographs
save
and
money, you just bring it in, you're quilting it yourself.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
There's quilt shops that do that here. I haven't done it yet, but I'm like, that is such a good idea.
Yeah.
Because yeah,
Yeah.
you're just renting the time, right? To use yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you bring in all your own stuff. Like obviously they have the thread. Not obviously, I don't know why I keep saying that. They have their thread, so you can choose from what they have. And they have, my shop has a couple different options. So you can say, oh, I want, you know, the superior omni thread in both
Hmm.
bobbin and top, or you can use, the bottom line bobbin thread with the superior, the omni, or they have glide also. But anyway, so
Hmm.
you can kind of choose your threads and then they'll make the bobbins for you. And um yeah, and then you just rent your time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have the zipper systems on their canvases. And so you just pin your set of zippers on your quilt pieces, take it in,
Yeah.
zip it on the machine, load it, and then you can quilt. So you can do the
Very cool.
paper
Okay.
pantographs where you're like working on the back side of the machine, or you can just do like the free motion from the front side.
I'm so fascinated by long arm quilting. I send out all of my quilts, all
Yeah.
quilts, like mini quilts myself, but or bags, like if I'm making
Yeah.
a bag. But yeah, I find that so fascinating. Like a lot of what you're saying, I'm like, I've never heard of that before, but I'm so
Oh,
curious and like I
yeah.
want to see it in action and stuff.
Yeah.
But so you did that first,
Uh-huh.
and then that just quickly evolved into
Yeah.
you eventually started teaching
Yeah.
long
So
arm.
yeah, so we took the course. We were like trying to rent the machine for, or we would like rent the machine a bunch, and like my friends, we'd all go in together and kind of like we'd rent two machines and then we'd piece, or just like, piece two of our backings together and load them one after the other so that we could just like one person would finish quilting, the next person would just jump right on, and like
Hmm.
we kind of split our time that way. And then my mom was always trying to go in, and we both were just like, this is crazy. Like we're spending so much time and money trying to get into this quilt shop. And it was like every minute
Yeah.
counts, right?
Yeah.
And my mom was like, what if we got our own machine? And I was like, what if we got our own machine? And
Yeah.
I have my husband is like so entrepreneurial minded and just like loves to help come up with like ideas for businesses, which is
Yeah.
how we got here.
Yeah,
Um
that's nice to have that
yeah,
support and yeah, have someone
yeah,
helping you figure out a lot of those things. So,
yeah. And
yeah.
so my mom was kind of nervous. And I'm like, Mom, you're so good at this. And she's like, I don't know, like what? And he was like, what's the worst that can happen? And she was like,
Yeah.
yeah, what's the worst that can happen? She's like, let's do this. So
Yeah.
May, like, yeah, late May of 2018, we were like in Utah at a quilt show buying a quilting machine. And so July
And
1st, 2018.
that's an investment.
Oh, baby,
Yeah.
she's expensive. Um,
Yeah, especially if
and
you have it computerized and
mhm.
yeah.
Yep. And we got the biggest machine they have. We got, it's like we need this thing to be a workhorse. Like we
Yeah.
can't be
Yes.
dealing with these little plastic machines that like are great for, individual people quilting their own
Hmm.
quilts, but like we want
As
this
a business.
business, and I
Yeah.
need this thing to like, she needs to be beefy. So
Hmm.
anyway,
Yeah. And you don't
yeah,
want to have to eventually replace, like, go
no,
through that again.
no.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then it was like 2021, um, June of 2021, I finished teaching and I was like, I'm done with this nonsense. And I started doing the business full time with my mom.
Mhm.
And then I think it was 22 that next summer. Yeah, that next summer I started working there part time, just a couple days a week, because I was like,
Oh, okay.
the business wasn't quite making very much money, and we were
Yeah.
adjusting pricing and kind of offering more services, whatever. And since I was around, we could do that. It wasn't just my mom doing it
Yeah.
mostly. Um, so anyway, so yeah, like 2022 into spring of 2023 is kind of when I was over there teaching. And
Okay.
but it was just like learning to long arm initially made me a better piecer because I understood the whole process start to finish
Mm.
even better, and why certain things are a certain way, and like
Okay.
what makes a good quilt top versus like a shitty one. And
Yeah.
when you have to quilt it yourself, you're like, oh damn. Like some people just give me their quilts and I'm like, dude,
They have
this
no
is
idea that
bad. Like I have to do so much to make sure that your quilt doesn't get destroyed in this process. Like,
that's
you know
like
what I
one
mean?
of my biggest fears when I give one of my quilt tops because I don't know, I don't quilt the
Yeah.
bigger quilt tops. So
Well, if they're
I only have gotten positive feedback, but I also
there
feel
you go.
like maybe they wouldn't be.
I
Maybe sometimes they're just being I am very type A, so
yeah.
but I'm also not like my mom is, she trims the threads on the back of her
Oh.
quilt, and I only will trim if there's like white fabric and I
Mm-hmm.
press the seam towards the white fabric, then I trim those threads. So
Yeah.
you can't see them, but for the
Yeah.
most part, I'm just like, I'm trying to just handle my fabric as delicately as possible so there aren't a ton of
Yeah.
threads to
Yeah.
trim
Yeah.
later, but that's one thing I
Yeah.
don't do.
It's
Um,
okay. But I think that's it is like if it's all dark fabrics and you can kind of get away with it, sometimes there is poke through on the backside, but it's like very rare and
yeah,
it can just be like pulled out. But
yeah, yeah, there's that tool to
the
use where you
like
can,
pressing to the light fabric is like ugh. And if you don't trim those, it can be very tricky. So anyway, that is like
yes,
the only thing.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like people who just like don't they like leave gaps in their seams because they're not like checking to make sure that the seams got all get caught together when they're piecing their patterns or like
Oh,
there's
okay.
so much extra
Okay,
volume.
I'm not
Some
doing that for
yeah, they
sure.
didn't like square up their quilts
Wow,
or they
yeah.
like put borders on wonky so it's not like
Um,
there's like so much extra volume in the borders. There's just so many different things.
and then
So
you probably get that puckering or the
the
what's it
puckering, yeah.
called? The puckering. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it can
See,
be tricky, but I mean, thankfully most of my clients are they don't do that. They
they're
but
good at, yeah.
like
That would be hard though as a long armor, because then
yeah,
you're like, they're handing it to you expecting this result, this certain result, but
yeah.
then if you're not kind of set up for success yourself.
Right. I'm like, I can only do so much. Like if you want
Yeah.
to pay
Have
me
you ever
for
been
re
like, I'm sorry, I can't quilt this?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've given a quilt back to its owner and just been like, fix these things and I'd be super happy to help you. I was like,
Okay.
but this,
Okay.
like these are literal hurdles in my way. My machine will destroy your quilt. Like
Yeah.
I can't do this without harming this quilt. So if you want it
Yeah.
to be, I'm happy to help, but like I also like I'm asking for these things from you for a reason. Like it's not
Yes.
just because I'm trying to be like stingy and like I don't want to.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying not to hurt your quilt top.
Your
Like,
quilts. Yeah.
yeah,
And you want them to get exactly what they're ultimately expecting
right.
to
Yeah,
get.
like
And
my only goal is to like help you finish your quilt and help you get to the end, the finished product so that you can enjoy your quilt.
yeah.
But if there's so many hurdles in my way, I'm just not even going to do it because it's not worth my
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I'm gonna ruin your quilt and you're not gonna be happy with me if I.
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes
So,
that's hard to, I'm sure, for people to hear. But yeah, you ultimately have them and their quilt's best interest,
right.
right? So,
Yep. Yep. Exactly. So, and, I think, I don't know if you found this, but just like being a woman owning a business, like I had to really quickly find my boundaries with
mhm.
customers and just be so clear up front with
Yeah.
people because when I was a little more vague and like, oh, I don't know, like I'd be like, oh, I feel bad. And I'm like, why do I feel bad? Like they're coming to me, to my business because I can do something that they can't do. And
Hmm.
like, if I keep showing up timid and meek and then things are weird and miscommunicated and there's all these problems, like I'm the one causing those problems by not being clear. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you find that?
Um, I definitely still, I've been really fortunate where I definitely have customer interactions that can be challenging. Like if a customer, most of my like customers will reach out and think that the measurements are wrong in a pattern, and sometimes they definitely are.
Hmm.
For sure that happens, and I really appreciate when I'm made aware of that because then I update my pattern corrections page, I update the pattern file, get everything as updated as possible.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times where it's maybe their seam allowance is incorrect, and then they're not accepting that 2 + 2 is 4 and not 5. Like
Yeah.
they're not accepting
Yeah.
quilt math.
Yeah.
Um, and so that can be challenging, but I'm a kind of a firm believer, and I know you can set boundaries and be kind at the same time.
Mhm.
But I think I do have I've gotten so much better about people pleasing, and I set boundaries much better in my personal life than I did, 4 years ago. I've gotten so much better about that. But professionally, I just, yeah, I still have, I struggle with that for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm like, here's I'll send you a free pattern. I'm so sorry. And
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I could be better in that way, but I think because I'm getting better about that in my personal life, maybe that will, carry over into my professional life at some point. But
Yeah.
yeah, thankfully, again, it's a pretty rare occurrence that I'm feeling challenged to the point of like super frustration.
Hmm.
It's, I would say it's like a once a month kind of thing, I would
Yeah.
say. I can be frustrated definitely on a weekly basis, but like extreme frustration where I'm like having an event, with my friends
Mhm.
and stuff, that's yeah, less often.
Yeah.
But that helpful thing is though, vent about it with friends that want to hear it. Like thankfully my very best friend who works for me, we can kind of vent with each other and that's a safe space and whatnot. And then you get that out and you can be, frustrated about it. And then you can go back to the customer and be like, okay, I'm being I'm being whatever about this. And
Yeah.
I've calmed down and it's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, thankfully it's not super often, but I could definitely be better about boundaries.
It's hard because it's
It
like you
is
don't,
hard. I want to make my customers happy and I want them to
right.
have a positive experience making my patterns. And
Right.
and so that's my number one goal. And I want people to come to me and be like, hey, this part of your pattern, I was frustrated by this. I want it to be this welcoming feedback. And I don't want to be the type of pattern designer that's like not accepting of that with my pattern testers are just customers. I want them to feel comfortable coming to me and know that I'm going to take their feedback seriously and most likely apply it to my future patterns because I do want to improve my patterns and make them better. I know I cannot make everyone happy. I definitely have realized that in
Yeah.
10 years. That ultimately, I want to make a pattern that if I bought it, I would be happy and satisfied making it, and it would be an enjoyable experience. And I know what makes me happy and satisfied isn't going to make every other quilter, feel
Mhm.
that way. But I will give feedback about, like, for example, I've gotten some feedback about adding pressing arrows to my diagrams in my
Mm.
patterns. And
Hmm.
I just, with Wallflower, I added it. And then with my pattern I'll be releasing next month, I've added them. My mom is very happy about that. So like that kind of feedback. And then, like I want customers to feel comfortable to give me feedback without worrying about me being like, like
Yeah.
annoyed about it in response. Like that's because yeah,
Yeah.
that is the goal for sure.
Yeah. And I think people, if they're complaining to you, it's like the expectation that you're going to just like meet them with super sunshiny, perfect happiness and just be like, oh, here, I'll bend to
Oh no,
every
and I
wish you have.
don't.
Yeah.
I'm not like that 100% of the time for sure.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah,
it's
I
hard.
definitely, my frustration can come across in emails for sure. And I don't know, most of the time I'm like, I don't beat myself up about that.
Yeah.
But there are times where I'm like, oh, Lindsay, you should have stepped away for a minute and then come back and,
Yeah.
you know, replied in a how you normally do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely times where I've reached a point where I'm like
Like,
2 + 2 is 4.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know
Like,
how to make you understand.
yeah, right. Yeah. You're like,
And
I
I'm
don't,
so sorry to tell you, but your seam allowance is not accurate, and that's the problem you're having. A lot of
yeah.
quilters have a hard time accepting that that their seam allowance is off, or that kind of stuff, or maybe they're not cutting their fabric, super precisely.
Hmm.
And with my kind of patterns too, it's tricky because a lot of my patterns have a lot of seams in them, and the more seams there are in a block, the more opportunity there is for, your seam allowance to make a difference if it's not accurate. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that's the number one sort of issue customers will have is, their units within a block not coming out the size they're supposed to. And a lot of times it's because of their seam allowance.
Yeah.
And that sometimes that's hard for them to hear for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You never want to be the one at fault. It's
I
always,
don't, yeah, no, exactly.
I want somebody else to take the blame for this.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's,
And I understand that too. I
yeah.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because sewing can quickly, become frustrating.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, and if you get a pattern that frustrates you, I understand like wanting to just be like, you're making this pattern is not helping. That like this should be fun right now. And
Yeah.
you've made your pattern's made it not fun.
You ruined
And
it.
you
Yeah.
ruined it. Thanks for nothing. And
Yeah.
I totally get that. And I know it comes from, and a lot of customers too, most customers are like, when I tell them, hey, so the measurements are correct and whatever, most of them are like, oh my gosh, you're right. I'm sorry, which they don't ever need to apologize, but that's typically the response I get.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know where I was going with that. But anyways, yeah, it's tough. It's like some people just need to get that frustration out, and it's not necessarily personal.
Yeah.
It's just them they're really frustrated
Yeah.
and they think the pattern's wrong. And sometimes it is, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's not. And
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes it's just hard to hear that in the moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
to accept that.
To
Because a lot
accept
of
that.
people have been sewing for a super long time too, and maybe they haven't done a pattern with a lot of seams in it. So they've
Hmm.
never, they might have made so many quilts and then they make one of my patterns and they're like, well, my seam allowance was fine and all these other quilts. And I'm like, oh, was it just like a patchwork quilt or what,
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
those extra seams definitely can make a big difference. It adds up. If it's too big or too small, it quickly adds up in a pattern with a lot of seams in it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's more important for they have an accurate seam allowance for sure with
Yeah.
those kind of quilts. So
Hmm.
it's tough though. It's so tough as a business to like, I don't know, navigate, especially when you're doing almost all of it yourself,
Hmm.
and yeah,
Yeah. You're like,
yeah.
oh, let me
It's
just
kind of
ask
like the
my
parenting
assistant.
thing.
Yeah.
The parent,
Yeah.
you learn and grow and through those, sort of failings
Yeah.
as a business. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely like, yeah, when you're doing it yourself, it's like, okay, I can't just like pass this off onto somebody else to deal with. Like, I
Hmm.
have to be the one to answer this question. And I for sure have to step away from things or like,
Yes. Yeah.
my urge is to like immediately answer and like be like,
I
oh,
was
I'm
just
so
gonna
sorry.
say that.
But like,
I'm bad about because I'll keep thinking about it. So
mhm,
that's why I'm like, I need to respond, right? Like answer. And also I don't want them to, especially if it's like an urgent or it feels urgent, I want
yeah,
to respond right away. But that's something I need to get better about where
yeah,
just stepping away and then,
yeah,
or so something actually, one boundary I am really good about now that I wasn't before is Saturday and Sundays. Unless I get an email where it feels super urgent, I don't respond to emails or I kind of stay off social media too. So that's a boundary I've set with myself that I've been really good about within the last 3 years.
nice.
Especially like, yeah, Saturdays and Sundays, I try and actually, I'm still working.
Right.
I'm still doing some sort of work, but like on the computer, social media, I'm taking a break.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to have that better balance in that way. Cause that's typically where I'm getting burnt out
Hmm.
is from social media, being on there a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I feel that because it's like you almost feel like, oh, I'm gonna miss out if I'm not on there
Well,
24/7.
it's so much to catch up on. So even on
Yeah.
Monday when I log back in, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I follow so many people. So
I do too.
a lot,
I do
a
too.
lot to catch up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. But I think one thing too that has like for me helped with responding to people because it's like, I mean, it doesn't happen a lot, but there have been a few customers that I've like made quilts for and they've been like, I don't like this. And I'm like, you approved
Oh, yeah.
everything. Like you approved every step of the way. I don't know
And
what to
see,
tell
that's an
you.
aspect of your business that I don't
Yeah.
really deal with,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that
It's
would be
just a
hard.
whole different thing, but like it's definitely been a good practice and like stepping back from it, looking at it, like taking some time. If I feel an emotion from it, I'm like, I need to step away from this because this is obviously triggering something for me. When
Hmm.
I feel like more regulated, I'll go back to it and then decide like, are they asking for anything from me? And if they're
Hmm.
not, then I'll just say, whatever, I'll respond to like, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry that you feel that way. Like, you know, unfortunately, due to the nature of this project, like whatever. But
Yeah.
most of the time, people aren't asking for anything. They're just, like you said, they're just venting frustration.
Venting.
And it's
Yep.
just like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yes.
But
Like,
like, and I think too, when you're putting your creativity out in the world, it doesn't really belong to you anymore. But at the same time, you're like, but this is mine. I made it. So when
hmm
people are complaining, you're like, I'm not happy with you right now. Like, I don't want to hear
yeah.
this. But ultimately, I think you have to be like, if you want to stay in business and you want to grow as a business, you
hmm
have to be able to hear those things
Yes. Oh, for sure.
in
You
whatever
cannot
timing.
be prideful in
No,
that way when it comes to
you really can't.
it's making any product. You have to be open to feedback and criticism and
Yeah.
open, especially in the pattern writing process when you have tech editors and testers. And that's not to say like I'll get feedback that I don't always apply to my patterns because I'm like, I personally don't think, first of all, maybe I'd have to reformat the pattern entirely in a style or a way that isn't true to myself or something I personally would find helpful, or it would make the pattern because there's a lot going on already. There's a lot of information you're getting in a pattern. I try to make it as concise and clear and organized as possible.
Mhm.
And I don't want, it's like a fine line between it being too overwhelming. And already, I already get feedback like people will look at my patterns because there's a lot of pieces to cut and they're overwhelmed. I just want to kind of ease the not add on to that. So, but like during the testing process, you got to be when your testers give you feedback, you have to really listen, consider it fully, and then ultimately you're deciding for yourself as the designer because it's your product,
Yeah.
your pattern. It has to be something you're proud of and that you are like when I release a pattern, I want whatever I want it to be obviously worth, the cost of it and,
Mhm.
it to be a positive experience for the quilters who are making it. But yeah, you ultimately have to decide what feedback you accept and
Yeah.
apply to your pattern and what feedback you're like, I don't, you know, it's not
Mhm.
necessary. It's not like this a grammatical math, anything super important issue. It's more just like this is my personal preference.
Yeah.
And it goes back to you can't make everyone happy. Ultimately, it's making a product that you are really proud of and you or you would be happy with as a
Yeah.
customer. You know, and then eventually like the pressing arrows thing. I've gotten that feedback a handful of times over the last couple of years, and I'm like, okay, I see the value in that. So I'm gonna add it to my patterns. But at first I'm like, I personally wouldn't, that's not valuable to me because I usually am pressing just what feels like the best. When I'm doing someone else's pattern, I'm pressing sometimes just however I want. I'm not
Yeah.
sometimes following unless it's like I want to nest these seams together kind of thing.
Yeah.
But now I do because wallflower, there's a lot of nesting of the seams. And so I like during the quilt along, I'm like, you have to like
Yeah.
please follow the pressing arrows or you're probably gonna be mad at me at the end of this quilt because you're gonna have all these bulky seams. So that's when I was like, okay, I just really see the value in these pressing arrow, like adding that to my
Yeah.
patterns. But for sure, I think that's very important as a pattern designer is being very open to feedback and criticism and not taking it super personally,
Mhm. Yeah.
because yeah, because ultimately you want to make the people who are making your patterns have an enjoyable experience as much as possible. You're not
Mhm.
going to make everyone happy. That's
No.
impossible, but
No.
yeah.
Yeah. And you don't want to compromise your own self because, like, I mean, going all the way
Yeah.
back to the idea that, like, or, the point I was making that, like, your patterns all have a very strong voice. It's all very obvious that they're yours. So if you start compromising on things that, like, are other people's personal opinions about how things should be designed or whatever, then it's like, then you lose your voice and all that. You
Yes,
lose what
exactly.
makes your patterns unique and what makes your patterns yours
Yes.
to the voice of other people. And it's like, yeah, like you said, unless it's like grammatical or mathematical,
hmm
like a true error, if it's an opinion, then like, unless it's like really speaks to you and makes you go, oh shoot, yeah, I didn't even realize this or whatever,
Yes.
then it's just an opinion, and like
Hmm.
again, like you said it and I've said it a million times that like you can't make everybody happy, but again, back to what you were saying, like if you are happy with what you're putting out in the world because
Hmm.
you've put everything into it to make it the best thing it can be,
Hmm.
then like the rest is just whatever.
Yes. And eventually as you grow as a business and you're always gonna improve and make slight changes or maybe big changes. And I think that's what's most important. Don't expect to get it 100% right on the
Yeah.
first try. And again, just always being open to that feedback and that you get from your customers. And, again, just ultimately, whatever you are releasing or doing as a business, just have it be something you're proud to say that you made and you did. And
Yeah.
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 And I was going to say something else and I don't remember, but
It's okay.
ultimately that's what is important to me. Oh, be just, yeah, like what you were saying about it being true to yourself and authentic to you. And that's always been something that's so important to me. Like this sounds so dramatic, but I physically feel like I cannot make a quilt or design a quilt that I am not fully 100% on board with, or I'm
Yeah.
not super excited about. And I cannot, and same goes with releasing a pattern. It has to be, and I mean, eventually by the time I get to release day, I'm like, I'm so tired of looking at this. Like,
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
be shocked if anyone likes this. But I have to be 100% so excited for this, the design and everything before I start writing the pattern.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that's so important too, is yeah, staying true to who you are and what don't, I think people are so influenced by they see someone else's their success and they're
Uh-huh.
like their style equals success or the way they and some of this is true the way you operate as a business that equals success, but I think a lot of
Uh-huh.
it's like okay, they have a certain aesthetic, they have a certain style and it does well for them, so copy and paste or I'm going to try and do that. But I think when you aren't authentic to yourself that people
Yeah.
can pick up on that no matter how good you are at trying to portray it a certain way. I think
Yeah.
people pick up on that and they can tell when you're not excited about it or it's not genuinely something, that's true to you and your aesthetic and your style and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I
yeah.
wholeheartedly agree with that. And like it,
Like you can't force it basically
no,
is what I'm,
no.
yeah.
And coming from like doing markets and bazaars and stuff, like, and I was having this conversation with Teresa Fien Millies on her episode, like we were both kind of in that boat of like, okay, owls are super popular, so we're gonna make stuff with all these owls, and then it wouldn't sell, or like, oh, this thing's really popular, because it's like it wasn't coming from a genuine
Hmm.
place of like, I like this is what I want to make, and then
Yeah.
other people will find that. And so yeah, when you're jumping
I
from
mean,
trend to trend to trend,
yeah.
you're
I have been in that like my bow pattern. I was like
uh-huh,
I'm seeing bows everywhere.
right,
But
so
I
cute,
was equally as excited about this bow
right,
trend. So
right,
yeah, to your point, yeah, if you're just you see a trend but you're not as excited about this trend as
right,
everyone else is, that yeah, I think that won't equal, like you said, it's not going to be, I mean, it could be successful, but odds are, you know, it might not be
right,
because you're not as excited about it or,
right, yeah, it's not
and that
coming
will reflect in
from,
your
yeah,
product or whatever you're doing. Yeah.
yeah, it's not
Or how
coming
you're
from a
promoting
place.
it or, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So I just think like, yeah, it it's just been interesting as like a business owner on this side of things to be like, oh, I have to really know who I am and where I
Hmm.
stand to be able to like answer these questions and meet these people where they're like not necessarily come at them with the same energy all the time because that could be so bad, but like
Hmm.
to meet them and try to understand what they're looking for and then balance that out with like, okay, what am I willing to accept? What am I willing to do? What am I willing
Hmm.
to give up? And in so many terms, like the compromise is there sometimes, but ultimately it's like if you don't feel good about it at the end of the day, then like that's not the right path, like
Yeah. Yeah. And
regardless of
you're
if that person was happy with you or not, like
exactly.
if
Yeah.
you
And
can't sleep
you're
at night, it's not good.
making yourself miserable in the
Yeah.
process, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Wow. Um, okay, so I have two things I want to get to. One, um, we're gonna talk about your new pattern because you have one by the time this releases that will just be coming out right around that same time. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Goal
exciting.
is July 18th
Okay,
right now, is release day. Yeah.
perfect. And then this will come out July 21st. So your
Okay.
pattern will just have
Yeah.
released. So
The
we'll talk
timing
about
of that is, yeah,
really great.
awesome.
So we'll talk about that. But I was not really aware that glue was used so much in quilting. And
I don't know if it actually is, honestly, because every time I post about it, I get so many people that don't know what it is and like, or
yeah.
yeah, just ask a lot of questions. And
Well, I think it's definitely there for like if you're, you know, I use it in paper piecing sometimes or like
mm,
FPP or
okay, true. Yeah. And those subcategories
uh-huh.
of
Yeah, so
sewing,
there's
quilting. Yeah.
so there's like different ways I've kind of used glue or glue sticks and but for just like having seam accuracy and like you're saying with your patterns like the if every little piece, every little unit is off within the block, the whole block is going to be off. And because there are so many seams, so like the accuracy of having your fabric stay lined up. And
Hmm.
anyway, so you have the glue bottle tips
Hmm.
that you can use on just
Yeah.
like Elmer's glue.
Yeah, Elmer School
Okay.
Glue. I can't take responsibility for this product necessarily. Like I didn't design it or anything like
Sure.
that or engineer it, whatever it's called. Actually, a quilter before a local quilter, she's the one that worked with Fine Line. They make glue
Uh-huh.
like hobby glue tips, and you'll find them
Yeah.
at Hobby Lobby and stuff.
Yeah.
She worked with them to make one that's compatible with Elmer's glue.
Okay.
Pile of Fabric is her name, and she would teach at the fabric store I worked
Okay.
at. And so I think she did like a class on glue basting, I'm pretty sure. And that's where I was first exposed to it. And I was immediately like, this makes sewing more enjoyable for me personally. I'm like, this makes
Yeah.
sewing more fun because I'm just not dealing with pins. When I go to my machine to sew something, there's no interruption and fabric's not moving at even a tiny bit. It stays exactly where I glue it. Anyways, I was immediately a fan and frequently like telling, my followers like these glue tips specifically. I have one right here. Because you have a cap at the top. So a lot of
Yeah.
glue tips, like the glue tips that we were selling at the store at the time, you would have to like stick something in here
Like a
to,
pin. Yeah.
yeah, to keep it from clogging. But the
Hmm.
glue tips that I sell, it has a cap that keeps it from getting clogged, and you just screw it on when you're not using it. So that was a huge selling point. And so I'd be like, guys, if you're into glue basting, get these glue tips.
Yeah.
Anyways, she stopped working as a pattern designer and selling these glue tips. And she had reached out asking because she knew how big of a fan I was, asked if I wanted to kind of take over for that. And I was at first I'm like, I wasn't ready to expand my business in that way. So I
Yeah.
said no, but then later on I'm like, actually never mind, because I want to be able to still
Yeah.
get these.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I started selling them, and I've been glue basting for 10 years, and I just personally, I know it's not for everyone, and I get it because I was skeptical at first too, but now I just cannot imagine sewing without glue. I don't know, like I just can't imagine it being an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I'm a huge fan even before and I've been selling them since 2021, I believe.
Okay.
So not even super long.
Hmm.
But yeah, but I've been using them for since 2011.
Wow.
2012, somewhere around whenever, yeah, 2011 is when I started working at the fabric scrapbook store. So
Okay. So they've
yeah,
been a
so for a
staple.
while. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, they are. It's definitely, it's my number one sewing notion. Like
Yeah.
if I was on an island with just my sewing machine and fabric, my notion would be this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely have gotten more into like using the glue. Just use the glue.
Yeah.
Like there, I
And
think,
and you don't have to use it like I'm pretty intense about it, where every like my wallflower quilt I made recently, every single seam and that is glue basted. But it's great just like for matching up seams, or
yeah.
there's so many other ways you can use it too. Like people have used it for installing zippers. When you sew diagonal seams, you just place the dots of glue in the corner you're cutting off just to
Hmm.
keep your square where you want it. And then also it's a good reminder, like what direction do I need to sew this diagonal seam by having the
Yeah.
glue there. Our pattern matching in fabric using glue for that is so
Yes.
helpful. Applique.
Hmm.
And it's that I think the number one, because it is just Elmer's washable glue. So people assume like I can't use this for sewing,
Yes, you
but
can.
it's what, yes, water based. It's so safe and for fabric, does not gunk up your machine, doesn't, because it's going to be dry before you're sewing, most
Hmm.
importantly.
Yeah.
But even if your glue isn't fully dry, it's not anything worse than if you were sewing with starch, like a heavy duty starch spray on
Right.
your fabric. So
Yeah.
super safe for your machine, your iron, all of that. And it's so cheap. Like
Yeah.
the specialty glue basting glues can be so expensive.
So
That's like
expensive.
during the school, back to school
Yeah.
season, you get that for like under $1, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah,
Yeah.
that's when you stock up.
Absolutely.
That's my tip.
I
Stock up
love it.
on glue.
Stock up on glue.
Glue.
Back to school season when it's 48 cents
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah,
you
get
can
all
buy
the
a
glue.
million. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah, I definitely I think, and I keep seeing people here like, "Oh, I'm cheating. I'm using glue." I'm like, "How's it cheating?" Like
Mm-mm.
anything like okay, then by that standard, then like any tool for quilting is cheating.
Yeah,
A ruler
anything.
is cheating. A
Yeah.
rotary cutter is cheating. Like,
Yeah,
what do you mean
yeah,
cheating? Like
yeah.
maybe you're
Why aren't
handmade
you
for a
hand
reason.
sewing your
Yeah.
seams? Like a sewing machine is
Yeah,
cheating.
like, oh, you have a sewing machine, you're a cheater. Like,
You're a cheater.
no, that's nonsense.
No, it's
Nonsense. Like,
the goal in quilting is to have fun and it to be enjoyable. And however you accomplish that is that's all that matters. Don't just because someone else isn't that's not their preferred method of piecing or whatever. That's okay.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's the
absolutely.
great thing about quilting. There's so many different ways that you
Mhm.
can accomplish something, and it
Yeah,
doesn't have to just be done one way,
yeah,
you know? So do whatever way makes sewing the most enjoyable for you.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a hard advocate for people accessing their hobbies however they need to access them. And
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
because, there are invisible and visible disabilities that like maybe that
Yeah.
glue is what keeps them being able to a person being able to sew and do the
So,
thing that they
yeah,
love
very
and
true.
you
I
know
was going to say too, even someone just recently shared a post where they were teaching a kid to sew
yeah,
using glue. And I hadn't realized that before, even though like I said, I teach my friends' daughters to sew occasionally. I'm like, that makes so much sense because
yeah,
it's so much safer to like sew with glue than, and not that pins are the most dangerous thing in the world, but you
but they're
drop one
sharp.
on the floor and you lose it. It does
Hmm.
get kind of dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I was like, it's helpful in that way too. And
Hmm.
I agree. Yeah, differently abled people, that's also so important to create products that make it a hobby that's welcome for everyone and possible for
Yeah,
everyone. And it doesn't
yeah,
have to all look a certain way or be a certain way,
yeah,
except, yeah, it being accessible and fun
yeah,
is really important.
yeah. It's like if you can find something that helps you keep the joy in what you're doing because you do love it, then it's
Hmm.
like then it's not cheating, it's not wrong. It's just
Yeah, no. And it's your quilt.
yeah, who
It's
cares
your,
what other
or
people think?
if you're gifting it to someone, like it's,
Yeah,
who cares what people think? They're not the ones that are going to be using it, or, it's not
yeah,
for them. It's for
right.
you. So, yeah.
Yeah. And who's gonna see that you use glue unless you show somebody?
Yeah, or unless you tell, no one would know.
Nobody's gonna know.
No one's gonna know. What's
Nobody's gonna know.
that?
I know.
What's
That's
that? Yeah.
that TikTok sound that was
That's,
going
yeah,
on for a
TikTok
hundred
sound.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're gonna know. No, no, they
No,
won't.
no,
No,
no one's
nobody's gonna
gonna
know.
know.
Yeah, I tell myself that all the time because like nobody's
Yeah,
gonna know. Like quit.
exactly.
Like what standard police is gonna come in and be like, you I'm like, no, get out the
Yeah.
door. Like I have to like kick that voice out of my head and like throw it
Yeah.
outside. Like you
And
don't
I've
belong here.
realized too, like with selling glue tips, I think the number one thing, like people are like, it's going to come up my machine. It's going to come up my machine. And no matter how many times I say, I promise it will not, it's not going to, people are going to have their beliefs or their own, you know,
Yeah.
misconceptions in a way about it. And that's okay too. Like,
Yeah.
um, everyone's quilting journey is different. And,
Yeah.
and no matter how many times, like if you say something's okay and you can do it and it's not gonna hurt your machine and blah blah blah, some people are just not gonna, it's not their thing, and
Yeah.
that's okay. That's,
Yeah.
yeah, not for everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
But
And I think that's just the kind of the crux of it all is you just have to like be okay with letting people experience
yes,
their hobby how they want to experience it. And it's
yes,
not up to you or anybody else unless they're specifically asking for advice or support, then like
mm-hmm,
leave them alone.
yes,
Leave them
yes,
alone.
exactly. Yeah, give advice and opinions when people ask for it. And
Yeah.
um, sometimes unsolicited advice can be like, I don't know, can be so frustrating. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's also important.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah. Okay, so you have like we talked about, you have a pattern that by now has just released it when this episode's out. Um, and so that's so exciting. And what inspired this one?
I've been wanting to do an umbrella themed pattern for a minute. It kept getting pushed aside by other patterns,
Hmm.
but I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I think the reason why I kept getting pushed aside is because I wasn't 100% happy with the design. It
Mm.
definitely has evolved from the start of like, okay, I really want to do this to what it is now.
Hmm.
And but I got it to a point where I'm like, I'm so excited about this. So the funny thing is though, so I'm releasing it not even intentionally, almost exactly 10 years from when I released my first pattern. Again,
Yeah.
not intentional. And then I realized, because I was like, I realized the other day, I'm like, oh, I think my 10-year anniversary is coming up.
Hmm.
And I scroll back in my feed to see when I released Rainy Day, and it's like July 19th, 2015. And I had already decided at that point that I was going to do this rain themed quilt, and I'm releasing it on July 18th, a day before my 10-year anniversary. So when I realized that, I'm like, that is just a cool coincidence. And I'm
Hmm.
so like, I think it's really cool that it worked out that way.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it'll be my second rain themed quilt. So umbrellas. It also has a flower block, and then it's gingham themed too. So very spring. Um, yeah, it has a lot of spring vibes to it.
Nice.
And yeah, it looks great. Some of my patterns can be difficult to mock up, like when I'm trying to create examples to promote the pattern with, but during release week,
Yeah.
sometimes it can be difficult to find a color palette, like, you know, 5 to 10
Yeah.
color palettes that work for this specific pattern. But the one I'm releasing, or that I released, is I have 20 mock-ups of it that I want to like post every single one to, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's easy to pick fabric for basically.
Nice.
So yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I'm
And
excited about it. To be honest, so it's June 19th,
yeah.
and I still haven't assembled the quilt top. So
Ah!
we're cutting it to, yeah, it's
Yeah.
cutting it close, but yeah,
You'll get there. You'll get
I'll
there.
get there. Oh, for sure. I always do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so fun. And like so full circle that like you get to celebrate 10 years of like designing amazing quilts and then come back with rain. But this time it's an umbrella because you've got like so much,
Oh.
you've got so much like over you and around you to like protect you from that rain.
Oh, you're gonna make
That's
me
cute.
cry. I didn't even, yeah, I love that. Yeah,
It's,
I guess
it's,
yeah,
it's
that's
funny
a
how our brains
really,
kind of like manifest different things. Like,
yeah, I think like subconsciously, right?
mhm.
But yeah, 10 years, like crazy.
That's
But
yeah.
I'm just so thankful, truly, that I still am doing this
Mm,
somehow and doing it full time, like enough to support myself and be able to pay my bills as a single person, like a
yeah.
single income person. So thankful for that. And I just like knock on wood all the time that I can keep doing this. And yeah, it is. I never, there was no creative pursuit that lasted more than like a year or two before this. I usually would get so just burnt
Yeah.
out and like, okay, I'm tired of doing this
Yeah.
specific creative hobby. I need to do something else. But sewing has always been new and exciting for me with each project. So
Yeah.
it's just as exciting to me now as it was when I first started. So I just feel like I have to be able to keep doing this. I just cannot imagine doing anything else. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's so awesome. I know. I feel the same way. I'm like, I was like a teacher and I put everything into it. And that was my whole personality. And then when I finally was like, I think I'm done, my therapist was like, okay, are you just jumping because things are hard right now? Or I was
Mm,
like, no, I'm like literally throwing my whole identity out the window and starting over. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
I don't, I don't know. And now I'm like, oh, I am so many things. And I think I've learned more about myself now with sewing and quilting and running a business and all this, like living inside of my creativity all the time,
Yeah.
like than I ever did in
Yeah.
any other pursuit or any other
Yeah.
creative
It's
outlet or
probably made you
whatever.
realize like what you are capable of
Yes.
and yeah.
Yeah.
And that you're more than just teacher, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And teachers are badasses and
Oh,
I
yes.
love
Yeah.
them. And so many of my close friends are still teachers and
Hmm.
I have nothing but respect for them still being, going at it in the with the way things are.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but
Yeah. I
also
can't
like
imagine.
no, I can't. I mean,
Yeah.
it was rough when I left, and so I can't even imagine now. But yeah, just being able to like turn what I love into something that I mean
You love
doesn't
to do professionally.
yeah,
That's
like
because it's
I'm
so hard to turn a hobby into something
it is.
you want
And
to
then
do 24/7.
yeah, 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 and make it sustainable and make it something that like you still love day in and day out. And there's times where I'm
Yes.
like, I don't want to sew, I want to do something else. But then I'm
Yeah.
always like, okay, I'm excited to sew again. And I run right back to it.
Hmm.
It's not months and months. It's like a couple days,
Hmm.
And to me that because that has continued over, the joy and the love of it has continued over these last 8 years of me being in the sewing world and the quilting world. And like, especially with running a business, I'm like still fine tuning and still kind of shifting things to fit me and how I want to see things and how I want to
Hmm.
show up in the world. But
Yeah. Which
um
is important because you're always changing and evolving. So you kind of
yeah,
have to change, as
yeah,
a business owner, you want
yeah,
that to reflect, you
yeah,
in that way too. So I think
yeah,
that's important
yeah.
for
Even in
sure.
this podcast, like it was so different at the beginning. It was so different.
Yeah.
And thank God Miranda started it with me and like helped me kind of get into it. And then she was like, I got a full-time job, dude. I can't do this. And I was like, well, I'm gonna take it and run. She was like, God bless. I love you so much. I'll be behind the scenes. Um,
Yeah.
and just how I really had to face myself in that and be like, oh, it's just me now. And like my husband helped me a lot because he knew like video editing and stuff. So he like helped me
Yeah.
build my like little editing templates and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but like learning to talk to people in a different way and learning to show up how I want people to see me, honestly. Like, but I'm also the same like if you met me in person and we saw each other at a coffee shop, I'd be the same exact person. Like you
Yeah.
wouldn't be like, who did I talk to on
Which
Zoom?
is,
Like,
yeah, that's so important because also how much energy would be expended and like per having yourself a certain way online and then like
yeah,
that's not sustainable.
no, no. And I think too, I was trying to be like, I don't know, I just like you can just kind of see different versions of me show up throughout like
Yeah, oh
as it
yeah, yeah.
progressed and stuff, which I'm so like there's sometimes I'm like I should take some of those episodes down, those old ones. And then I'm like, no, like I didn't know what I didn't know. I had opinions then that I don't have now. I've
Yep.
I've evolved, I've shifted, I've changed, and I want people to see that. Like I
Yes,
want that to be
yeah.
evidence and like not
And
just
that's
other
so,
people, but
so
myself.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so important that people see that growth and that
Hmm.
change and that the possibility of the growth and change for sure.
Yeah.
I have stories saved like in my highlight
Yeah.
bubble, like that I just cringe at. And but I feel the same way. Like that was who I was back then. And
Right.
that just shows how it's so important to grow and evolve as a person. And that is a part of should be a part of everyone's journey. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
love
I
that.
think that's for sure important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though you like look, you're like, oh,
I know. I know. I'm
oh.
like, girl, shut your mouth. Like, what
Yeah.
are you saying?
I mean,
But
you
I'm
are
like,
so embarrassing.
yeah. I'm like, well, that's who I was at that point in
Yeah,
time. It's like I can't be mad at that girl for
yeah.
being who she was because it's like in 10 years, am I going to be mad at this version of myself for something that
Hmm.
I can't change now, or I can't change at
Yeah,
that point? It's
true.
whatever. But like, hindsight stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, if I was embarrassed of every little thing I did or like mistake I made, then like I think that's like a personal hell that we trap ourselves in.
Yes,
If you're like
yeah.
constantly looking at mistakes you've made and like instead of growing from them and
Hyper
being like,
focusing on it.
yeah, just
Yeah.
being like
You have
living
to
in your
accept it.
embarrassment. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to accept it and then recognize what it is that you want to change and be different and then just apply that, move forward. You can't change that's like accepting that you can't change the past is
Yeah.
hard, but I think as you get older too, I think late 30s, early 40s,
Yeah.
it gets so much easier to just accept who you are fully
Hmm.
and to give yourself grace and, you know, under, you know, allow yourself to be human,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I think
So,
I don't know if you've seen her on TikTok, but there's this lady who's just like she's like the founder of the We Do Not Care Club. And it's just like
oh, that's awesome.
it's like the perimenopause and menopause, like people
Yeah.
share the things that you no longer care about. And it's
Yes,
like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in that like, okay, I'm hitting perimenopause. My hormones are changing. I do not give a shit about so many things that
I
I used to
don't.
get so in a tizzy about. And now I'm like, who fucking cares? Like,
I
okay.
don't I don't give a fuck either.
Yeah.
Like I go on walks you know, often
Yeah.
and I've been wearing one of those weighted vests and for
Hmm.
a hot second I was like, I am a little self-conscious about this.
Hmm.
And then I quickly was like, I do not give a fuck. I do
I
not
know.
I don't
I know.
care. Like I
I
actually
know.
had a guy that was like, "Are you wearing a weighted vest?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Bitch,
Yeah.
like good job." And I was like, "Thank you." Like I was kind of embarrassed that he he
Yeah.
acknowledged it, but then I was like, I really like those kind of things where I just don't,
Yeah. You're
you
like,
like
yeah, why
don't
aren't you?
have I think you have like a limited amount of energy
Uh-huh.
when you're in your
Yeah.
40s anyways. And it's like, do I want to spend it worrying about what other people think of me? No,
No.
because
No.
it doesn't change anything.
No.
And you have to like you have to be confident in knowing who you are and understand that their misconception of you doesn't change who you are
No.
and it doesn't make it less true, you know,
Hmm.
who you are as a person. It's just
Hmm.
that's their problem
Hmm.
and you have to just let go of that and spend your energy elsewhere, you know, where it's
Yeah.
more valuable and productive, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you know, I know it's been said a million times, but it's just that whole concept that like other people's opinions of you they're none of your business. It's like, if,
Yes, totally. Like what people say about you in private
yeah,
conversation, it's none of your business. And
yeah,
I'm not, I used to be like, I used to worry and think about that so much and
me
could
too.
not care less. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it is what
Yeah.
I believe the truth prevails.
Hmm.
Continue to be your authentic, you know, authentic to you, true to you, be the best version of yourself as
Hmm.
much as possible. And the truth, you know, those lies won't hold water, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
forever. Like if that's what's being said.
Right.
but there's also like you can't believe that everything that's being said about you behind your back are lies, and you
Yeah.
can't live in that world either because that's just a waste of energy, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's a personal cage. It's a personal hell that you can throw
yeah,
yourself in
and
if you're so worried about it.
it's hard, especially as a woman, because women naturally we gossip and we're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of thing. So it's natural to worry what is being said about you and whatever mistruths, or is that's a word,
Yeah.
are being said. And but it's so important to like, you have to like let that go.
Yeah.
And it's none of your business,
Yeah.
and you can't change what's being said,
No.
it's out of your control.
No. It's like the people who try to control the narrative about them are
Hmm.
narcissists. Like
Yeah,
they're the people
controlling
running
and yeah.
around trying to change. Well, I'm not like that. And it's like, okay, well, and maybe no, they're not full narcissists, but it's like
Yeah,
definitely a self-indulgent like endeavor. So anyway,
yeah,
all
yes.
that said,
We're getting real deep.
I know I'm like, oh, therapy. Um,
Therapy. I know this is kind of like therapy right now.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on here today and for chatting with me. I've loved like just talking to you, getting to know
Oh,
you,
me
finding out we have
too.
so
I
much stuff
know
in
we
common.
do. I know. I've super enjoyed this. So
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Um,
Another quilty friend. Yay.
Yay. I know, it's so fun to expand the network. But
Yeah.
before we pop off, do you have like a piece of advice or a tip? I know we've shared so many things,
We've
but
shared so
I
many
know.
words of wisdom.
I know. But do you have one solid that's like your go-to, your tried and true? It could be quilting, it could be life, anything.
I think actually I want to kind of go back to balance, how
Yeah.
important that is. Even if you're not professionally a quilter, it's just for fun. I
Hmm.
think balance is so important, and figuring out what that balance is for you. Like
Yeah.
what I had said about giving myself the weekend to like, I'm not on social media, whatever, find that balance so you don't reach that point of like just wanting to fully give up and never do it again. And also recognize, because I've had times where I'm burnt out. I feel like I'm never gonna have a new idea and
Hmm.
like I'm done. That is temporary. Like recognize that that is temporary, and but allow yourself to feel allow yourself to feel burnt out, and just ride that wave. And it's not forever. So that's been when I first started having those feelings. I would get so stressed and
Hmm.
consumed by it, and I've just realized in the last like 5 years that it's always gonna be a part for, I think, most creative people, where you reach a point of feeling burnt out. And I feel like that's so normal and okay. And you have to again ride that wave, and eventually you'll get on the other side of it. And maybe you get on the other side of it and you're like, I want to explore a new hobby, and yeah, quilting isn't for me.
Hmm.
But I would say don't just don't fully accept that this is how it's going to be forever. It's usually temporary. And yeah, so I don't know.
Perfect.
But
No,
yeah,
I love it.
balance I think is so important,
Yeah.
because it's so easy to be so upset like when you start a new hobby of any kind and you're just like all in. That's how I am
Yeah.
anyways. I'm like
Yeah.
all in. It's my whole
Hmm.
life.
Yeah.
But finding balance, and you know
Yeah.
and that is so important.
Yeah. Absolutely. I totally agree. And I think because there's so many different things, so many different aspects of quilting and sewing, and there's so many
Hmm.
projects to make and patterns to make and
Yes.
new fabric coming out, it's like can be really overwhelming. And I think that that
Hmm.
adds to the burnout. But it's like, yeah, like you said, if you just kind of step away, feel
So
the
yeah,
feelings,
yeah. Give
like
yourself that break.
take a
Yeah.
break, take care of yourself, like do something else.
Hmm.
Like if it's ultimately something that you really do love, it'll come back and you
It'll
can
come
step
back.
in
Yeah.
and
And maybe
reprioritize.
you'll go from quilts to making bags, or from
Yeah.
quilts to making clothes. Like,
Yeah.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
love it. Perfect. Well, thank you again so much. I'm looking forward to seeing the mock-ups and other people's versions of your umbrella quilt that is just out. So people can go
Yeah.
check it out at your website at penandpaperpatterns.com.
Yep.
And you're on social media as Pen and Paper
And paper
Patterns.
patterns. Yeah, that's where I'm
Yeah.
at everywhere. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So they can
Thank
just
you
find
so
you.
much for having me on. I've
Yeah.
truly have had so much fun getting to know you. And yeah, yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Thanks. And we will keep in touch.
Okay, yeah.